welcome back.
We're back, friends.
Hey, everybody. I am Melanie Lauren.
And I'm Holly Chanel, and this is Dipped
with Sweet and Hot.
All right.
Good to see you. Shout out to our producer, Mr. Lou, Big Lou. What's up?
What up, Big Lou, super producer? Listen, you get a shout out every show, regardless of whether or not you're
y'all just know he says hello back.
Exactly. It's kind of like Jimmy Kimmel at the end when he's like, sorry, Matt Damon, we ran out of time. It's a thing.
It's definitely a thing. Well, look, I'm so grateful for everybody that tuned in. Y'all been listening to this podcast and downloading and streaming and everything, and we love you.
Baby, the numbers are up. The numbers are up. Okay. Listen, I just left brunch with my family, and my aunt was like, "Oh yeah, I've listened to all 6 episodes." Mm-hmm. I was slightly ashamed because that means that she listened to the last episode.
It's too late to be ashamed.
Fair.
It's out right now, friend. Listen, we got a good one for y'all. I mean, we enjoy everyone, and we hope you guys feel like they're all good. We're going to be delving into a real issue. We're going to talk about our health, specifically our mental health, and we're going to have a special guest in the house. But before I introduce her, you know, Holly and I have to do our check-in. We got to do our Sweet and Hot, Holly. So,
yes, Lord. Yes, we do, honey.
We do. And I can tell that means you got hot this time. So I'm just going to jump in with sweet. Is that cool?
That's fine, because I'm boiling.
Okay, well, I won't say that I'm syrupy sweet, but I am sweet, and I am grateful because my birthday's coming up.
Yay!
And so, like, I'm not always, let me not tell that lie, it depends. Because I was about to say, I'm not the kind of person who wants to celebrate my birthday forever.
Lies.
And I don't want to celebrate my birthday forever and ever. But I have had some epic birthday celebrations, have I not, Holly?
Oh my gosh.
Yes, I have. This year, I don't know what I'm going to do. This is not a landmark birthday for me. I've had so much going on. I haven't even had time to think about it yet. Like, I've been being asked what I'm going to be doing for my birthday, and I don't have an answer yet. But I'm still grateful to be here another year. God is good. And I am grateful that I get to celebrate my birthday coming up. So that's what's sweet for me.
I got totally distracted because you said you've had some epic birthdays, and I have 2 words for you: party bus. Baby. Oh my word. You know what? We'll have to save that story for another day.
That's a hashtag. If you know, you know.
It is.
Listen, if you were on the bus, you were on the bus.
You were on the bus. And speaking of birthdays, if I may tag on, my big brother, Mr. Robert Charles, he just celebrated a birthday, and it's a milestone. I'm not going to tell you which one, but it's a milestone birthday. The family got together. We had brunch. We actually cooked brunch.
Okay.
So let me tell you what was on this menu, honey. We had Cajun pasta. My brother made homemade waffles. My mother fried chicken. We made bacon. I made eggs. And I made grits and cut up some strawberries and macerated them. Baby, it was on and popping in these streets.
Well, let me ask the questions that matter. Where's my plate?
Listen, you coming over? I got a little something. I took some with me.
I always have time to pick up food. Okay.
Absolutely. So happy early birthday, friend.
And happy birthday to Rob.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But on to hotter matters.
Uh-oh, what's hot?
My car got broke into. Now, friends, I do drive a Hyundai, but my Hyundai is old, okay? It's a 2012. Well, Ray and them, I guess, don't get into particulars about which cars that you can steal because they got upset that they couldn't steal mine and went elsewhere in the parking lot trying to take a Kia. But let me tell you about this damage. They busted my passenger side window, jacked up my steering column, jacked up my ignition. And then on top of that, I need a catalytic converter that doesn't even have anything to do with the theft. Right. So the insurance is only covering so much. I owe the dealership $1,000 to get my car back. No. Listen, praise God for small blessings that they didn't total my car out.
Yeah, okay, that's good.
Because you know how I feel about a car note. Mel, I haven't had a car note in 10 years. I paid off that car early, remember?
Yeah.
And I have not had a car note in 10 years. And don't you know the dealership called me the other day while my car was still there? Talking about trade-in. And you know what I say. Sir, does my vehicle still have 4 wheels? Okay. Call me when they're 3.
Call me when I can no longer move and be
Call
mobile.
me when I can know where, because I don't want no notes. So I'm thankful for that, but it's just a hassle because now you got to rent a car. You got to clean out the necessities from this car and put it over there and then talk to this person about this thing. It's just shenanigans. And then here comes super producer Lou talking about, I heard the bus is popping. Let me tell you, why that's not going to work in this particular scenario. This attempted theft happened on the West Side, aka out West Illinois. I apologize to all the West Siders if I am offending you, but I will tell you something. My car has never been broken into on the South Side. Okay. So
fair enough. But we do know carjackings happen on the South Side. Don't act like they don't.
They do. I'm just bitter right now. I still got to pay $1,000 to get my car out. I still have a vehicle and I still don't have a note. There we go. But I tell you, I had to sit down and get my mind together because, when something like that happens, the first thing you're like is, I don't need another thing to happen. Right. And I think about how inundated we are with burden. Period. Like, bills are burdensome. It's the reason why I go to therapy now, just to find tools and tricks of the trade just to deal with everyday life.
Yeah.
So when something like this happens, it's easy to just go down in yourself. And I had to sit and think about it for a moment, which is why I think today's topic is very poignant because things are going to happen. Right? Life happens all the time. And so it is in this realm that I would like to bring our guest on. Please say hello, Dipped with Sweet and Hot family, to Dr. Tauchiana Williams, who is a clinical social worker and therapist. Hey, Tachi.
Hello, Dr. Williams. Welcome to Dipped with Sweet and Hot.
As my 7-year-old prince and hype man would say, pew, 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 mommy.
Now, let me also say in full disclosure that Dr. Williams is my big sister from Wellesley College. Do you remember? I don't even remember how we met, but I think when we met, it was Kismet. We danced together.
We did.
We went to see Ailey together. We partied together. We got a lot in the brief time that we were in school together because I was a first year and she was a senior at the time, but we've stayed in contact over the years.
Yes,
and I'm excited to have you on to talk about mental health and what that means in a post-pandemic world in 2024 with all of the shit and shenanigans going on.
Yeah, post-pandemic, we are still in it. So we're since the pandemic, that's what I say.
Fair enough. And it's also, I think about it in terms of just where we are in the calendar year too. A lot of people start off the new year in January with hopes and aspirations of what's going to be, better this year. For a lot of people, things are different and have been looking up over the last month. The rest of, everybody is, we're a month in now. I don't know how these resolutions are looking for some people. And also January already has probably brought a lot of stress and strain to a lot of people, just like Hollee, who are dealing with things or things that aren't just like situational or episodic like that, but things that may be chronic. And so I just think that, you talk about winter blues a lot too.
Absolutely. A lot of people, I would like to say the holidays are not as happy for a lot of folks. So you have a lot of people who have come through the holidays, maybe navigating family and those kinds of dynamics that can be stressful, pressure filled, but sometimes can also be, on the flip side, can be rejuvenating and filling. And then we come into the new year and it's more for more in 2024 and whatever the word is and all of that, being very motivated to either be physically healthy, mentally well, and things like that. So I definitely have seen and heard a lot of that with the folks that I have the privilege of talking with. And you're seeing folks who are anticipating having some challenges throughout the year and really wanting to, okay, I'm in the gym, I'm doing this, and I've been saying I'm going to do therapy, I'm saying I'm getting counseling, and so now I'm going to do it. So that's some of the stuff that I'm seeing as well.
You said something interesting there where people make a resolution to go to therapy. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because some folks think that if you go to 1 or even 4 sessions, then things are better, right? And folks are surprised and think that I'm nuts when I say that I've been engaged with a therapist for over 10 years, right? So what can people expect when they make a resolution to go to therapy? What does that treatment plan or course look like? And I know it varies depending on what you're going there for, but what average?
Average, I would say, I think that what people can anticipate is having a meeting with me where I tell them, I said, I'm going to do my best Gail King. I'm going to do my best. Ooh, in these days, Shannon, but no, we can't be Shannon because
Not Shannon.
Cat just said everything. But anyway, never mind. But I tell them that I'm going to ask a lot of questions because people have been with themselves all these years. I think my youngest client is 18, and the most seasoned client that I have is in their 60s and trying to figure out kind of what they're going to do now that these children and these grandbabies are out. And so it really is a discovery of what's really going on that's prompting them to want to talk and want to peel back the layers and want to really do something for themselves in terms of being more aware, having a space where there's no judgment. You don't have to deal with the clapback from family, the bias of family, and sometimes the limited kind of input there. I would say that most people can be in therapy from maybe 6 to 8 months.
Okay.
To 10 or more years. I tend to see folks during transitions. And so oftentimes it's transitions. So my youngest client is transitioning from high school to college and really wants to get a sense of becoming their individual self and really coming out of their parents' home and really navigating school. Some people are married. Some people are recently married. Some people recently had a baby. Some people are experiencing loss of some levels. Some folks are seeing imposter syndrome and work stress come up. And for most people, I say, as I mentioned before, during this, since the pandemic has started, place that we're in, I tell them, I said, if you don't have a therapist right now, I don't know how you're doing it. I don't know how you're doing it because the way that life has been lifing, the way that our world has been going through so much, I don't know how anyone is doing it on their own. And one of my clients, they stopped suddenly when I was talking to them because what I want to do is not only welcome you into the space to be able to build this relationship and understand the therapeutic process, but I also want folks to understand that there's no shame here. There's none of that. And I let one of my clients know, I said, I'm a therapist and I have a therapist. And they were like, wait, what?
Absolutely.
And I said, yeah. I said, I'm a human just like you. I can't provide therapy for myself because there are blind spots and things that I'm going through that need to be in a space with someone else that can help me to really navigate and pull those layers back.
You're talking about your need for therapy as an individual and how like all these things that are going on in the world are driving people to therapy. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that and like what people are dealing with that is driving this demand for therapy right now. I mean, I think a lot of us can probably speak from our own experience or anecdotally what we know that's happening in our world. But I was reading this article in the Washington Post, and it actually started off a little funny because it was talking about how Sesame Street has an X account. And the characters from Sesame Street, get on there and say things. And so recently Elmo got on the X account and was like a general, I think it was a Monday in January, toward the end of January. And Elmo got on the X account and was like, Elmo's just checking in. How's everybody doing? Okay. And what Sesame Street probably didn't anticipate was the millions and millions of responses and replies that they got to this message. And the general sense of it being, yeah, not so great, Elmo. And I know like Elmo was sitting back like, okay, like don't ask questions you don't want to know the answer to, Elmo. A lot of people just responding with things like, yeah, hey, and so celebrities and people just like all of us alike, Not so great, Elmo. I'm actually kind of sad. Elmo, I'm dealing with seasonal depression. Elmo, I'm dealing with having lost my job, or and just like expressing despair and expressing hopelessness. And this article was actually citing a study or an advisory that the Surgeon General put out last year in 2023 that was saying that as many as half of US adults report especially feeling lonely.
Yep.
Feeling isolated. And
I heard an NPR journalistic piece on that. Yep. 100%.
Half of US adults. So like this issue of loneliness specifically seems to be very persuasive in how disconnected people feel, and just like all the things that come with being lonely. So I guess my question to you is, are you seeing what this report is talking about? Are you seeing like this pervasiveness of loneliness being one of the factors that's really driving, I guess, the damage to our mental health these days?
I think that loneliness is a branch of a lot of the things that I'm seeing. A lot of what I'm seeing is anxiety and depression, which, if we want to get clinical, experiencing loneliness for really long periods of time can really cause some significant impact to folks' mental health and well-being. Because the loneliness, when you're left alone with your thoughts, and when you're not in a space where somebody can encourage you or lift you up, or you are so discouraged that you're not seeking those things that are encouraging and uplifting. And when we don't honor the fact that we are human beings in a world where we are built for connection. And so when we're not getting that, and again, when I reference the fact that in March 2020, many of us in this world were told to go to our homes, to do what we need to do to be well, to again limit the level of contact and engagement with other folks. And then we're coming out of that. I think that it definitely is being very significantly impactful for many people. And when I think about the folks that I see in particular, they are often people. So when we think about it, Hollee, you and I met in college.
Yep.
When we think about schools and we think about college and we think about grad schools and things like that, those are natural places where people can build community.
Yep, 100%.
But when you think about someone that is 24, 32, 44, 54, or what have you, that's moved to a new area, that's changed jobs, there is just a difference in the way that people are moving. And so those natural places where folks can build community are not always there. People want connection, but they're not able to get it. And I think that there's this period that we're moving out of where it's okay to come out, it's okay to connect, but we also have Instagram and Facebook and X and all this stuff. And unfortunately, I think that we have gotten into a place where something that was supposed to support us in being connected in different ways, it's just too much. And it's really given this false
sense of connection.
And I cannot say enough. There is one person in particular that comes to my mind who lives and breathes by those posts and those pictures. And I have to consistently say to this person in different ways and really peeling back the layers of, this is a finite point in time that this person chose to show other people. We don't know what's going on the other 23 hours and 59 minutes of that person's day. And so we get into the trap of comparison and really not feeling like we're enough. So that's also a large part of the work that we're doing.
As I'm hearing you talk, Tachi, it's interesting. And I don't mean to be funny, but I have made a connection. I think that this is probably the impetus behind cuffing season, because during cuffing season, seriously, if you look at the online schedule, it usually happens in the fall, in the winter.
Is there a schedule that we?
Yes, there's a whole schedule of cuffing season. Okay.
Oh, okay. I've never seen it online.
But typically happens when people are going more indoors, when it's colder out, when you want somebody to cuddle with. And so cuffing season is all about finding one, or if you have been with more people who can who can keep you company for a few months until you're ready to go back outside and meet some new folks. I'm genuinely
Loneliness. We're joking about it, but yeah, in the most basic form, like the desire to stay inside, but you want to stay inside, but you don't want to stay inside alone.
Right.
You want to stay inside because it's cold outside, but you want to have somebody there with you. I mean, I could see that playing into how we got to what we now fondly refer to as cuffing
season. Yes.
Cuffing season. But loneliness, I know, is pervasive all year round, especially in the winter. Like you said, when we are spending more time inside, for people who live alone, or like you said, I have been the one who was living in a new place and didn't know anybody. And it didn't matter what the weather was outside. I just didn't know anybody. Mm-hmm. And so having to try to make those connections in a new place, whether it's because you moved for your job or you had a family change or whatever it is. And it gets highlighted too this time of year, as well as we head into Valentine's Day. Dr. Williams, Hollee was talking about cuffing season, and you were talking about the comparisons that people do to other people that they look at when they look at IG or they're looking at TikTok and, all on social media. And it was interesting to me that you mentioned that, because that actually corresponds with something that I read, that this whole thing called Valentine's Day blues. And basically another study that was done to just sort of substantiate that it is a real thing, where people's feelings of inadequacy and anxiety and failure and all of these things that can be detrimental to our mental health tend to go up for a lot of people as we get around this time of year.
You know what people who don't have a boo on Valentine's Day call it?
What?
You never heard of Singles Awareness Day?
Absolutely. Singles Awareness Day. And some people they don't want to be no more aware than they already are. Like, they already feel very aware,
We are very aware.
We don't need a day to remind us that we're single,
And then, to the social media piece, I'm going to tell you something. I stay off the book of faces and the grams of Insta on Valentine's Day, because everybody posts their flowers, they post their dinner, they post the rose petals to the bedroom with the heart on the bed and the little swan towel and all of that shenanigans. And I'm like, yo, I'm just trying to get a date.
And that's what it is. But that's what this article was talking about. I think this article came from Forbes, and it was saying that some other study that was done, it was in a journal called Nature and Human Behavior, I think in 2023, where it basically was just talking about how serious loneliness is. People can end up having, premature death, what will be considered premature death, because they are suffering from all of this envy and all of this, I'm going to be alone forever. And, measuring your self-worth next to another one. Shout out to gospel artist Jonathan McReynolds too, who is also a Chicago guy. He has a whole song called Comparison Kills on one of his albums. And it really is, a driver when you look at that. So I imagine you do have to spend a lot of time with your clients, Dr. Williams, trying to quote unquote reframe their thinking about their own reality around Valentine's Day. Have you experienced that?
I think that what's happening is that before we even got to this place of being on the eve of, February and the month and what comes, because I don't know about y'all, but after we just was like, Merry Christmas, love y'all, the next day, there were red hearts put up in all the stores, everywhere. So I think that even, commercially, it's driven. It's very much in your face. Mm-hmm. But what I see oftentimes is that folks want connection even before Valentine's Day. There are folks that I'm speaking with, that I know of, who are having a hard time connecting with like-minded folks that are in many ways sometimes want to stay home, but they don't want to go outside to actually be in the midst of other people and be seen. And so sometimes I do jokingly say, do you think that we can get this person off Amazon and have them dropped off at your door?
We want door service.
You're saying you want connection, but you won't take the bonnet off,
Ooh.
the stuff, and go out
Ooh.
to be
Bonnets and do-rags. Uh-huh.
and yes, bonnets and do-rags. All are welcome.
To do it.
But that part, and so I see things coming up. I mean, I want to shout out my area that I'm living in. I love what Durham and Raleigh is doing. There's folks who are doing things like Let's Get Social in Raleigh and let's do this and let's do that, where they're creating opportunities for folks to come together, play games, walk trails, go and try different restaurants out, and it be just a mixed group of folks who again are single and want to find connection. And if you find love, that's great. If you don't, that's fine too. But you're again being in community and connection with other folks.
That's interesting. And I think that there are some programs, especially when you talk about relocation, that are really speaking to the things that can come with that. I think everybody here is aware of Dr. Montana Kane, who was also a Wellesley grad. She participated in the Tulsa Remote Program. And they provided a stipend to move to Tulsa. But when she got there, there were group meetups. There was a built-in social life to help you get acclimated to a new area, to get acclimated to being around new people, being in a place that has a storied past with the Tulsa riots.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. From the way that I've been watching her grow after her relocation, she's thriving. Started her own consulting firm, met a bunch of people, was able to hire folks for her firm. I was going to ask you, Tulsa Remote did wraparound services with their remote program. What other things do you suggest, especially to those who are, maybe have social anxiety or who want to sit on the couch but crave that connection? What do you suggest? How do you advise people on threading that particular needle?
I think that there are so many steps to it. And so the first step is really helping folks to understand whenever we do come together that this is a very normal and that it is a common experience that happens to folks in different periods. And I think that part of it is really allowing and supporting folks to really understand that this is not something that's just made up. This is not something that's just you, but really honoring their experience and honoring that this is happening. It also includes allowing them time to do that self-work, because part of it is sometimes you want to be connected and you want to be something for somebody else. So you want to be a friend, you want to be somebody's boo. But the thing about it is that how can you just start to be somebody's boo or be connected with somebody when you haven't really, are you friendly? Are you okay with being with you? Have you healed all the stuff that could be messy and make it challenging or cause friction between you and other folks? And so sometimes that also includes really increasing some self-awareness and just really getting to know you and what you want, and also what you want in a friend, what you want in a partner, because that way, at least when you're looking for it or when it comes, you are able to recognize it. Social anxiety is a real thing. There are folks who their stomach hurts, they get sweaty, they have racing thoughts, they are having some serious physical and some thoughts that are coming through their minds that are really impacting them to be able to really do it. And so really working with folks by building in those small W's of, okay, so let's list some of the things that you would like to do or some of the things that you enjoy doing that you would enjoy doing just with you, and things that you would like to do with other folks. And so this may sound ridiculous, but it is what we do. And I encourage folks, let's not wait to travel and do these things when you get that person. Go on and do them now. So if you want to
Mhm.
go to this restaurant, if you want to go travel to this place, go ahead and do it. And so really just building folks up to that point of doing those things and then them coming back and we're talking about, okay, how was it? Okay, everybody wasn't zombies and monsters and they didn't. Oh my, you had a good time. Yes.
Would you look at
You
that?
spoke to one person. Ah, there you go. Okay, you smiled at somebody, really just embracing those wins and just encouraging folks to continue to do it. And also really allowing folks to stay away from the comparison. The comparison is the thief to all joy. And so reminding folks of that and really just allowing things to happen when it happens. We don't want to put this like pressure on ourselves, like, I got to do this by February this, or I got to do this by March, whatever. So just really being mindful of that. And a lot of times, folks that, whether it's friends, family, or whoever, we know who they are. They're like, what's wrong with you? Or why you not this? Or when you gonna settle down? Or when you gonna have kids? And it's also us talking about really nice ways to tell them where to go. I have a
Please.
wonderful way. I have a
Oh,
wonderful
share.
way
Please do
of
share.
using a samurai sword to put people where they are so that they don't ask you no more. We just craft little things and we just I get, tell me about Aunt so and so. Okay, and how is Aunt so and so doing? And so we just craft wonderful things that we can say to build in those boundaries and to really allow them to say some things that are
Oh, I love this.
building themselves up. Oh yeah,
Okay.
Wonderful was in quotes.
oh yeah,
Now,
oh yeah.
I'm going to ask you two questions with the few minutes that we have left, Dr. Williams. Number one, are you willing to share one of these wonderful things that people can say in response to our dipped audience when they get these uncomfortable questions? And then number two, my question is for people who want to do some of that work on themselves, like you were talking about, who recognize that whether they're dealing with loneliness or sadness or anxiety or depression, who feel like they may need to seek and they're interested in seeking therapy, but have no idea where to start and where to find a therapist. How do I even start to try to find and connect with a therapist? But answer the first one first, Dr. Williams. Let's not forget
Like I said, it's one of those. It's in the moment. It's not. There is no like fun. It happens in those moments that we're talking because I know their situations.
Yeah.
But I will say this: that second one, that one's the most important question. And so one of the things that gives me a lot of joy and that also confirms why I do what I do is that we all know representation matters so much. And to hear people say that they want to see people that look like them because they don't want to have to explain their experiences and the ways that they're being impacted by life to someone who doesn't look like them. It always lets me know, it always helps me to understand. And that's why I'm still accepting new clients. And this is why we're continuing to keep going. I think that one, for folks who are interested in seeing a Black provider or therapist, please, I lean into Dr. Joy and looking at the Therapy for Black Girls Network. There's also ways that you can look up Psychology Today, and you can specifically put in there that you want a Black or African American therapist, and they got pictures up there. They do look. They like, hi, I'm such and such, and my approaches to the work include this. And so I encourage folks to really take a look out there on some of the resources and the websites, and to also remember this. Finding a good therapist is sometimes like finding a good pair of jeans or some cute boots.
I'm
Like,
so glad you said this, Tachi. I was going to ask you. Yes.
not your jam, and that's okay. Don't shut it down just because you got with somebody who probably is not like your jam. And I just want to say that although I think very highly of myself and I'm very secure in my wonderfulness, I'm not everybody's cup of tea either. Because
Right.
some people are just like, well, you're just too informal. And I mean, I'm sorry, I'm gonna be me everywhere. I'm gonna
Right.
be, if you want somebody that's iffy and stuff and just I will definitely show you where some of those people are too. But I'm not for everybody, and that's fine. So just continue to at least ask those questions in the consultation. Ask people what they can expect during the first meeting, what can they expect during just therapy sessions, and really have some things that you have in mind that work for you. I want someone that's going to allow me to share, what's happening with me during the week, or I want someone that's going to allow me to share, some of the entries from my journal. I want somebody that's going to read this book with me. I want someone that's going to hold me accountable or what have you. So have those things in mind as well.
Know what you want to have, an idea of what you're trying to work on, and
Yeah.
that can help guide it. I want to make sure that if you are open to having people connect with you, that we give the platform for that, since you did say that you are accepting new clients. So is there some way that you would like to share for people to reach out to you?
Sure. Folks can connect with me. You can email me directly. I try to make it very simple, and it is Dr. T. Williams, LCSW @gmail.com. And that's DrTWILLIAMS LCSW @gmail. And folks can also reach me directly. You can give me a call at 984-212-5812. And I am accepting new clients and would love to connect. I let folks know that I can see people from as far as Wilmington and also as far as Greenville,
North
Asheville,
Carolina friends.
North Carolina friends. Thankfully, the virtual space has been awesome. And most people will say, even when they're a little nervous, they're like, I don't know, you don't have an office. When we come in this Zoom, we in the room. So just,
So to be clear, you don't have to live in North Carolina. You do see people virtually over Zoom.
So if you want to utilize your health insurance, I can definitely see you in the state of North Carolina. However, if you would like coaching, I can see you from all over the world.
Gotcha.
And we can talk about that.
Oh, I love the versatility, coaching in other areas. Okay.
Absolutely. Because sometimes people are not struggling with necessarily anxiety, trauma, or depression. Sometimes they are perhaps in a transition and in a season where they just need 3 to 4 meetings to kind of fine tune some things that they're doing to get to a desired outcome.
Oh, fantastic. Wow. What a resource. Dr. Williams, you are amazing. And I love you, sister.
I love you back.
Please kiss my nephew. And I have to send him a gift for being so quiet while we were recording the podcast. Amazing.
She's a working mom, ladies and gentlemen.
I love it. I love it. Well, friends, I hope that you have gotten your fill and you learned more about engaging a mental health professional, learn more about the ways in which you can utilize a mental health professional or a coach, as we just heard, right?
And I hope you feel seen just by hearing how much of the world, again, half of Americans in the United States are really dealing with some deterioration in their mental health and how they've been feeling mentally. And we've been talking about adulting this season. So
100%.
Taking care of your mental health, friends, is another way that we have to be grown out here. It's not just about trying to lose weight in the new year. Let's try to get our minds together as well.
Let's get mentally well, y'all.
And I want to say something, go back to something that Dr. Williams said at the top of the show, which is if you are going through life right now without some type of support, we're trying to figure out how. And so just to let you know, it is okay. Go get the help that you need. Go look for those resources. And then the last thing that I want to leave with is a quote from Dr. Williams: comparison is the thief to all joy. Your journey is your own.
Amen.
Your journey is your own. And with that, friends, my name is Holly Chanel.
And I'm Melanie Lauren.
Thank you to Dr. Williams. This has been Dipped with Sweet and Hot.
See y'all next time.